In this video, we will be doing a little bit of review of some of the things we covered in the introductory video about the guitar, and I'm going to teach Sanjana a little bit about strumming with a pick, which is crucial to playing guitar, I'd say.
Okay.
Some picking styles are with your hand, and that's important too, but a lot of times you can use a pick, and that can be beneficial too for a different type of playing experience. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is review that E chord shape that we went over just really briefly in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be your pointer finger on the third string. Yeah, there you go, on the first fret. There you go, string 3. And your middle finger is going to be on the 5th string on the 2nd fret.
5th string on the 2nd fret.
Yeah, move it a little towards your pointer finger.
Right.
Just so you have space for your 3rd finger. And then your ring finger is going to be on the next string down. Yeah, there you go. Or the next string up, I suppose. Yeah, so go ahead and give that a strum. Yeah, very good. Okay, now I want you to strum each string individually so we can hear if each of the strings is resonating nicely. The open one's obviously going to be nice. And so that one's a B that you're playing now. And that's an E. Very good. Sounds good. That's a little dead. So that's supposed to be a G sharp. And so the reason for that is you've got one of your other fingers is laying over that string, sort of dampening it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to sort of curve your hands more so that you're more directly pointing down onto the fretboard. Let me see what you're doing over here. Go ahead, lay your finger back down. Strum it again. Do me a favor, take your middle finger and your ring finger off the fretboards. Like, leave them sort of in the general area, but just lift them so you're not holding the strings anymore. Leave your pointer finger down, but then take your other 2 fingers off.
Oh, okay. Leave my pointer finger down, take my other finger.
There you go. Right, now you can strum that again. Play that G sharp. Yeah, so it sounds good then. And see if you can strum the higher strings now. See if they still sound alright. So the 2nd and 1st.
See, this one now.
Yeah, so try to sort of, if you move your thumb down a little bit on the back of the neck and then point your finger more. So sort of curve your fingers as if they're, I don't know, you want like a sort of bend at every joint. So it should be bending a little bit at your first knuckles here. It should be bending a little bit at your first set of knocking knuckles and then a little bit at your 2nd set.
Okay.
Still try to keep your thumb in the middle of the back of the neck, sort of anchoring the position. Okay, that sounds pretty nice. Now try to strum the higher ones, because you don't want to be dampening those. Go back to the 3rd string really quick. Move it a little bit, away from you, just so that you're not pushing right down on the fret. Let me know if your fingers are hurting too.
Thanks.
Because they could be. Because that happens sometimes. If you practice for too long, you can end up hurting your fingers at the beginning because the strings are pretty strong and thin when you get in the higher ones, and so they can hurt your fingers. Anyway, we'll work on that. There you go. That sounds good. Yeah, I feel like you are a little bit too close to the fret, though. So maybe you don't have to be that close. Like, seriously, you want to be on this side of the fret just barely. So if you were on this side, it's going to be a really weird. Like, listen.
Right.
Like, that's, like, kind of thin. But, like, you want to be... That's a good spot, yeah, I think. So strum the bottom, the lowest, the 6th string now really quick, and then that one.
Or the
lowest one, yeah. And then the 3rd one. Yeah, there you go. So that's a major 10th. So that's pretty good.
Major 10th?
Yeah, a major 10th. It's like a 3rd plus an octave.
Oh.
Yeah, fantastic, right? All right, so let's try to line up that E shape again and see if we can get that string to resonate nicely.
Okay, so it's your pointer finger where?
3rd string, 1st fret.
3rd string, 1st fret, and then this one goes...
Be careful.
Also
you might have been putting it on the 4th string. There you go.
Yeah.
And try to make sure that you're using like the tip of your finger so that you're not going to be laying it on top of this this 2nd string here.
Right.
Because see how that's not quite ringing?
Yeah.
Like I should be able to ring that the whole time. See how it's right on top of the fret? Yeah, move it a little bit. There you go. That sounds better. I should be able to strum the 2s and get good sounds out of them.
Okay.
It's alright. Take your time.
I feel like my fingers are too fat, or
maybe.
It might be that they're...
I think that the neck of this instrument is pretty wide.
Okay.
So, if anything, a guitar with a smaller neck, which might help like the size of it, like if your fingers aren't long enough, a neck that was smaller might help you reach around more, but then the strings might end up being a little bit closer together, so that might make it a bit difficult, a bit more difficult too. So it's like sort of trade-offs that you get with different styles of guitars.
Okay.
But yeah, try again to place that E shape. So there you go. First fret on the third string, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Now get your middle finger on. There you go. Move it towards your pointer finger, though. There you go. Very nice. Perfect. Now strum that. See what it sounds like.
All of them?
Yeah, all 6 strings. Now strum them slowly in individual. See if you can get a sound out of every string. Let's hit that one again. See, are you still getting one out of the B string? Try the next string. Almost. It just seems like you're barely touching it, and you're sort of dampening it just a little bit, so you're not able to get a good vibration out of it.
Right.
And that one, of course, is fine, yeah, because you're not touching a string that's near that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's pretty good for the E string, and now I'm going to hand you the pick. So basically, the way to hold a pick, I want you to hold it in your left hand, like
my
this.
left hand, okay.
Mm-hmm. And I'll show you how to do this with my pick simultaneously. And so once you're holding the tip of it, hold it out in front of you. Take your right hand and put your thumb on it like this. And then you can grab sort of, I don't like to grab with the point of your finger because that's kind of tense. But if you grab with the side of your pointer finger in between your second knuckle here and the point, that should give you a good grip on it. Then you can take it out of your left hand, and you should hopefully have it sort of like this. Curve your finger a little bit, your pointer finger, so that's like this. This is what it'll look like if your thumb weren't on it.
Oh, okay.
You know, and then you can sort of grab it like that.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah. And so try to strum the strings a couple times with the pick in hand.
Okay. Oh.
You don't have to put any shape on there. Just take your left hand off the neck, and then you can like work on just actually strumming it.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So you can see how much more it pops when you're strumming using the pick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so strum all the strings at once from the lowest to the highest. Okay. Now, did you notice there when you're sort of put the pick perpendicular to the string, so you're sort of like pushing against it, but it's not going to let you strum. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So what would you do to fix that? You would tilt it, right? You tilt the pick a little bit. Would you tilt it that way or the other way?
I would tilt it this way, wouldn't I?
Why would you tilt it that way? It seems harder now.
Oh,
right?
So I would tilt it.
Yeah, tilt it the other way, exactly. So tipping it the opposite way that you're strumming is a good way to make sure that I like to think of it as dragging the pick across the strings instead of just strumming, because then when you come back up, you obviously have to tip it the other way, right?
Ah.
So go ahead, try to go down and then back up and get a nice sound. Yeah, take your time with it too. You can go slow.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. All right, so let's not do the E shape because that's a little bit difficult. But just let's try a couple other chords. So I'll teach you a small C chord, which is going to be just the first 3 strings, and you're going to put your finger on the first fret on the second string.
First fret on the second string.
And just strum the first 3 strings now.
Gosh, hold on. Okay.
Use your pointer finger. You don't want to use your middle finger, just because in first position you would want to use your pointer finger in that position. That sounds pretty good. I'm not quite hearing the E, which is the first string there. What you want to hear? Yeah, you hear that? How it's a little muted. Yeah, so that's just one thing to be conscious of when you're placing your fingers on the neck.
Okay. I hear it too.
Now, if you want, try to lay your pointer finger across the first 2 strings on the first fret. So then you can play both of them. Now play these top 3 strings again.
Oh.
Actually, just play this 2 strings this time. Try to apply equal pressure so that you're able to get a good sound out of both strings. It seems like you're not pushing down on the first string hard enough. So maybe distribute a bit more towards this. There you go. Nice. And so that is a C and an F, which you're missing one like voice from that chord, but that would basically be like the outline of an F chord.
Okay.
You know, you'd have an F and a C is the root and the fifth of that. And then another chord you can play in C major would be the 5 chord, which would be G chord. And so the small version of that you can play is just going to be use your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the first string and strum the first 3 strings. Very good. Now, if you put your pointer finger down on the first fret there, on the first string, and let go of the middle finger, you now strum it again, the first 3 strings. You now change that from a G to a G7.
What?
Right? And then if you resolve that, so then go back to a C chord, which is just the first fret on the first 3 strings. Or, sorry, second string.
Second string.
First fret. There you go.
Okay.
And then you strum all 3.
Now I see what you mean. Okay. Can't hear the
You've
E.
almost got the E. Yeah, I can't hear the E. And that's just like a bit of a struggle with like getting a hang of
Hold on,
like.
let me treat this for a second.
Yeah, if you use a smaller finger, you might be able to get a better sound out of it.
Or maybe not.
That time it was just because it was too close to the fret. Very good adjustment you made there. Alright, so now play a G chord again really quick. So put your ring finger on that third fret on the first string.
3rd fret on the 3rd string?
Mm-hmm.
Or the 3rd
Sorry,
string?
3rd fret on the first string.
Uh-huh.
There you go, you had it right. There you go. Right, and now put your pointer finger on the first fret on that string and let go of the middle finger.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And then a C chord's next. Do you remember how to do that one?
And then it was this one?
Yeah. Pretty good. Yeah, so
Woo!
now we've done a bit of strumming. And so that was a pretty good job of learning how to do a few basic chords and strumming with a pick.